Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the NC channel. Today, we're going to be talking about 20 things not to do in Paris or in any other city in France. Are you thinking of visiting Paris, or have you booked yourself a trip to Paris or anywhere in France already? Go grab yourself a drink and let's discuss what not to do there to have the most enjoyable trip ever. Number one, learn at least some basic French words. Saying hello, please, thank you, goodbye will surely make your stay more enjoyable. Knowing a few French words is the difference between having a nice time in France or getting the cold shoulder from the French. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people do speak English somewhat, and some will try to practice when they know that you do. But you'll always get better service and a ton of respect by starting conversations and using as much French as you know. Just imagine a French person coming to a non-French speaking country and speaking only French, expecting to get a warm welcome and reception from you. He or she will most likely be ignored by most locals. Same goes for you in France without the French language. Remember, the words bonjour and merci should always be at the tip of your tongue. 2. Do not go straight into asking for what you want without exchanging pleasantries. In shops, say hello and wait for them to respond with a similar greeting before launching into your request. Same goes for elevator rides. Say hello when you get on and goodbye when you leave a cozy shop, restaurant, or the elevator. 3. Do not speak loudly in crowded and public places. Try not to speak louder than everyone else in a public place like a cafe, restaurant, train, and so on, especially at night. The French are pretty respectful of other people when it comes to noise levels. In most cases, the people you'll hear speaking the loudest will be tourists or cultures living in France who tend to talk loudly. I remember taking the train with colleagues, and they would ask me if the black people talking loudly and interrupting each other were fighting. And I'd be like, nah, they're just having an interesting conversation. Remember that talking extremely loudly is not only rude and offensive, but it's distracting for other people. I still believe France is the only place where you get shh for laughing during a funny scene in the cinema. So, your loud talking will not fit in at all. 4. Don't keep compliments to yourself. If you see something you like, feel free to share your thoughts. Remember, only mention things you like. Yeah? The French like to be complimented on the way they look, on their food, their wines, and so on. They love to hear wonderful things about their country, even if they might act otherwise. When you get to know people really well, you may start to share the things you find odd. They will gladly join in on that conversation as well. 5. Do not participate in any street games. When you go to popular tourist locations, especially to see the Basilica Notre Dame, you'd come across people playing tricks on the street. No matter how entertaining it looks, hold on to your belongings tightly, but do not participate, especially if money is involved, because these activities are designed to make you lose money. They will convince you of how easy it is to double your money if you get it right. Almost no one figures out their tricks. It is very painful to lose money. Go ask my sister. She won a couple of times when she didn't put any money, but as soon as she did, she lost. Also, if someone presses an item into your hands, absolutely refuse to take it, because once you do, They'll ask for money for the item you are holding. Lots of people will suddenly appear telling you how good it looks on you, and they will basically refuse to take the item back. So you're stuck with it, and you have to pay for it. I just want to take a quick moment to shout out to the returning subscribers. Thank you for being back here. If you are new or returning but not yet subscribed, please take a second to do so. It will be great if you turn on the notification bell as well. Going back to our lists. Number 6. Do not waste your money and time on cabs in Paris. The traffic sometimes can be horrible. Cabs are quite pricey in Paris and in big French cities. Most French cities also happen to be highly walkable and have great public transportation systems. The best way to get around is with the metro. Remember to stamp to validate your ticket before getting into the train and hold on to it until you exit the station. Tickets are checked almost at any point in the station. Throwing away your ticket after getting off the train in the station can get you in trouble. The same goes for taking the long distance trains known as the RER that take you outside Paris to the area known as Greater Paris. Don't board the metro or the RER before everyone has gotten off it. It's just simple manners. And oh, watch your belongings closely in public transportation. Number 7. Don't think that you can eat at a restaurant at any time. Unless you're out for fast food, you need to know the restaurants run at a schedule and are not open all day. They are typically open from midday till about 2 p.m. and from 7 p.m. till about 10 p.m. Of course, there are variances in the schedule. Check that of the restaurant you plan to eat in ahead of time. Sometimes it's good to book ahead of time too. Number 8. In a restaurant, never wave wildly or make long hissing sounds at a waiter or waitress to get their attention. You really shouldn't do this anywhere. If you are seated at a restaurant and need the attention of the waiter, wait for one to walk by you or be in direct view of you, make eye contact, and slightly raise your hand. They will come over to you. If you need information on how to get to the bathroom or so and can't wait, just walk over to the one who is receiving guests in and ask. To do more, like waving wildly or hissing, would be incredibly rude and wouldn't lead to the best exchange. Number 9. Don't spend money on bottled water, unless you're just being bougie. You can drink water directly from the taps. The water from the French taps is one of the cleanest and the safest in the world to drink. I have come across people drinking water in public bathrooms. I wouldn't go that far. In restaurants, tap water is also served free. You may be tricked into paying for water though. Unless you want sparkling water, just go with carafe d'eau. Everybody knows what that is, and it's just tap water in a nice looking water jar. There are Wallis fountains spread all over French cities, so be sure to bring your own water bottle and fill up when necessary. You might see people drinking directly from the fountain or with cupped hands. Number 10. Don't eat your meals in touristy areas. Restaurants in touristy areas are expensive and most times not worth the price. While you might do it for the thrill, don't make a habit of it. Instead, head to other districts where you will get better priced and nicer tasting food. In touristy areas, it's said that the restaurants do not care if you'll be back and they do not rely on returning customers as there are always tourists around to sucker in. If you're in Paris, avoid restaurants around the main attractions like the Louvre, Notre Dame, Eiffel Tower, or the Champs-Élysées. Go explore the other arrondissements where locals go out to eat. And I think in English, arrondissement is districts. Number 11. Don't fall for cliche French cuisine. Have you ever heard of the French eating frog legs? Cuisse de grenouille? It's said to be a specialty. Do not go into anyone's home expecting to be served frog legs. For the thrill of it, you might try it out in a restaurant. You might also try out the Frenchy snails cooked in the shells that require special tools for you to be able to eat. There's also the raw ground meat, served with spices, and my favorite called andouillette, which smells extremely bad and rotten. The grade of the andouillette tells you how stinky it is and also how good it is. It is extremely smelly, so be warned. It's always a thrill to see a tourist get andouillette for the first time. In some cases, the waiter might actually ask you if you know what you're ordering and if you really want it. None of my Nigerian, British, German, or Polish friends were able to stomach the smell, talk less of eating it. That aside, do not stick to only eating cliche French cuisine. The French don't. By the way, frog legs are served mainly to tourists. Number 12. Do not always buy tickets to attractions on site. If you can, buy tickets to sites of attraction online. This way, you avoid the extremely long waiting lines to purchase tickets, but instead just join the queue of people who have tickets and can go in. Note that in some places, you queue to get the ticket and then you queue again to get in. Also, some popular attractions like the Louvre have free entry days. Check for this. Note that the queue on these days are extremely long, so bring snacks to eat while you wait to get in. Number 13. Do not expect to be always right. In France, please note that the French do not adhere to the saying that the customer is always right. Be ready to get challenged in shops and restaurants about your choices, especially in restaurants. If the chef says that a certain food item has to be prepared or paired in a certain way, different from what you suggest, he or she will absolutely never pair it or cook it in the way that you suggest, and expect to hear an explanation on why the chef's way is better than what you might have actually asked for. Same goes for a stylist in a salon. Some people are actually nice about it. I once got scolded nicely about dessert spoons, which I had never heard of before, after I was asked what kind of spoon I wanted and said a teaspoon. According to the waiter, I definitely couldn't eat a creme brulee with a teaspoon, and God forbid that I stuck my tablespoon into it. That would have been pure sacrilege. Number 14. Never show up to someone's house or party empty-handed. Wherever you are from in the world, it's always considered polite to bring something if you are invited to dinner or a party. However, France takes it to a higher level, like again some parts of the world, meaning that you should never go empty-handed even for coffee, tea, or wine invites, and even a play date or sleepover for your kids. If you are the one hosting, some people may call you to ask if you prefer to have them bring something sweet or savory. This question back then used to throw me off a lot. I just tell people to bring whatever they like. In my opinion, you don't have to call your host to ask this question, except you are dealing with kids and you need to know about allergies. 15. If you are invited to a house party, never expect it to start on time. The French stick to times of formal meetings and business meetings, but slack off a bit when it comes to any informal gathering. Now, don't go showing up 3 hours late. We aren't talking African time here, you know? Number 16. Do not dress like the stereotype of a French person during your trip. You know that one? Yeah, I'll insert a picture here. This needs no explanation really. However, if you want to, you do you. Just know that people will be judging and laughing at you behind your back and the bold ones to your face. That said, dress appropriately and note that flip-flops are not for walking around in any French city. Number 17, do not just stick with touristy spots and destinations. There are lots of charms to find in non-touristy places. You also get to feel the charm of France in these places. France is a good place to wander in as long as you do not trash your common sense in the bin while you do this. So, while you do this, still be careful. Number 18. Do not expect all shops to be open on Sundays. While some stay closed, others might be open till a certain time. The opening hours differ from shop to shop, so you need to check their Sunday opening times ahead of time or just shop on Saturday. Number 19. Do not forget to people watch. I know this is a strange one, but if you're into people watching, which I might add is a relaxing and fun thing to do not miss out on heading to a cafe on the Boulevard Saint-Germain. This is a perfect place to watch passers-by and to experience Parisian life, but in a more relaxed setting. Number 20. Do not make an extensive list of things to see and do. Yeah, don't make an extensive list of things to do and see from the moment you arrive till when you leave. Leave some space to get the authentic French feel by wandering off touristic parts, like I said before, and discovering things and places on the go. For instance, get a cup of coffee at a terrace and just watch people pass by for a couple of hours, or take your time in a restaurant to really enjoy the food and the company. The best restaurants, by the way, are the ones where the waiters and waitresses are slightly older. So they're doing it because they love it and not just for some quick cash. Well, for the money included, but they love it as well. Some restaurants in the evenings actually have live music played and or sung. French culture is all about taking time to enjoy life. So be like the French. These are the 20 tips I have to share to make your stay in a French city very enjoyable and one you can rave about in the future. If you have stayed all the way to the end, I appreciate it. If you have any other tips of what not to do, or maybe even something to do while you're in a French city, please share in the comment section below. I wish you all a lovely time in any French city you decide to visit. And till next time, bye.